Hi, it's Paul Clegg here, and if networking is a part of the way that you get visibility and build your business, and it's a very good way, it might be worthwhile adopting a more serious, organised approach this year. And by that, I'm not meaning to be rude, but most people just turn up at networking events because that's what you can do. There's no requirement to do anything else. But I'm a great believer that people judge others by what they do. I have a favourite expression: what you do thunders so loudly above your head I can hardly hear the words you speak, which is really action is far more important than the words that you use. And these are the key things that I think you ought to look at this year. First of all, the people in a networking event or not a networking group are not your prospects. They are potentially hold the keys to opening doors to people who want to buy your product and service. That's it. Okay, there's some people, as they get to know you, they may have a need, but the majority of people approach networking events as if everybody was a prospect. And indeed, they're encouraged to do so when they're told to give a 2-minute pitch. Absolutely wrong. They're not your prospects. They potentially hold the keys to opening doors to people who could potentially use your products and services. And if your mindset is along those lines and the words you use is along those lines, you'll do far better. Secondly, they are very unlikely to refer you, recommend you, or even remember you after one visit. Remember, 82% of sales take place after the 7th touch. So it's very important that you have some sort of follow-up and stay-in-touch strategy. I have a particular app that is connected to my database so I can read a business card, add notes, and actually organise immediately for a message to be sent out. Now, you might want to look for apps that will suit your own system. But if you've not got that, then I would suggest that you put a couple of standard messages in a text file and that you add those to an email follow-up. You see, when you meet somebody and they're very nice at meetings and they all appear reliable, they don't demonstrate any reliability when they don't bother to say it was really nice to have a conversation with you. In actual fact, it's quite dismissive. So the reputation that we build is affected by how we follow up. So that's the first thing. Secondly, you might want to have a look at a system that reminds you, maybe at the end of that week, to review the people you've met and establish how you're going to treat that person. In some cases, it could very well be that you merely want to connect, and it would be suitable to connect on their favourite way of connecting. That could be via text, it could be via email, it could be via social media. I tend to like that. So I'll normally suggest somebody connects with me on LinkedIn or Facebook if that's their scene. And it doesn't need to be more than that. But when you review how you might follow up, you're going to make some assessment as to whether you got on with that person, whether they are a potentially rich door opener because they're connected to the market that you want to enter or you want to be connected with. And no matter what you've said at the event, you really ought to be making and establishing one-on-one contacts, maybe over a coffee. Again, one coffee meeting won't do it. So a perfect scenario is that you both meet on a regular basis. Either you agree to meet, say, on the first Tuesday of a month for a coffee, or maybe you join a business network. That's why when you're meeting people on a regular basis and you've made that commitment, it's far easier to stay in touch. So if there's a networking event out there or networking group, that could be very good for you. Referral groups tend to be better because they're not so much focused on networking, they're focused on referrals. But there's a bit more discipline to that. You're required to do a lot more. But so is everybody else in the group. So it depends how serious you want to take those meetings. And finally, I would suggest that you have a method of putting in your diary, say 3 months or 6 months out, a review of the people you've met in the past. And in that way, you're going to start to establish in your mind that it's a more long-term process building a relationship. In between, bearing in mind 82% of sales or referrals take place after the 7th touch, you might want to think about what that person might be interested in, where they see their business going. Very good question to ask somebody, in fact, is how do you see the year ahead? It will reveal their fears or their excitement. It will reveal projects that they may be working on, and you might be able to help them achieve that, either with the services that you have, or more often than not, by introducing them to somebody reliable that can help them. So I hope those are some pointers that might help you in your networking efforts. Don't go to network. There's no point in going to a networking event just to have a breakfast and a coffee, gather business cards that you're going to do nothing with. And I'll tell you, after almost 15 years of attending events like that, almost no one follows up. Unless it's just me. I just don't want to follow up with me or whatever. But I always will follow up. I have a most extensive database of people I've met. I know exactly where I've met them. And no, I don't pester them. I don't chase them or anything. But following up is a courtesy that you should adopt. My name's Paul Clegg from Seven. Hope you found that useful.